This is just a supplement to my video that I had uploaded. Basically for the Dinosaurs one, I got a lot of people bashing it, evolutionists bashing it. Well, first off, you've been proven to be wrong in the past. You will be proven to be wrong in the future. As we discover more about the depths of the sea and whatnot, I'm almost certain we're going to discover dinosaurs. You know, like pleiosauruses or whatever they call them. I would be willing to bet my life on it. In addition to that, in terms of the footprints in the Cretaceous stone, the problem you have with your argument is the fact that all of your arguments have been overturned by the creationists through scientific studies, and even through some non-creationists who have studied the footprints and said that they're consistent. They were made back during the Great Flood, so some of the prints will be a little distorted because of the thick mud packs that we have, just by mud pushing up and whatnot. But they go into explaining all that kind of stuff on their the scientific aspects on their much more technical websites. I've been to all the evolutionists' sites on the footprints of the Texas riverbed of Paluxy, and read what they had to say, their arguments, as well as their argument about the supposed carved finger, which I brought out, in my video. In addition to that, for example, take a look at these clips that were taken photographs on a Japanese fishing boat. They pulled it into shore and whatnot, just off of New Zealand. And then of course we have Aborigines, and I'll show you a picture of Aboriginals from Australia who painted a picture that's an old picture of a giant sea creature that their people revered and basically worshipped, actually. The legends of these creatures go way, way back, even in Australia. And so I'll show you one picture from an Australian Aboriginal talking about it, and it looks very much like they call it a great sea monster, but it's basically a Paleosaurus or whatever it is. And then, of course, this dead corpse that was pulled in by a Japanese fishing boat and off at the coast of New Zealand, taking a picture of it. And of course, your excuses were, well, that's just a. I've heard a lot of evolutionary excuses for it. Oh, it's just a dead. Just a dead shark. Does that look anything like a shark to you? Or it's a dead squid? And these are some of the excuses, the lame excuses you'd like to give for these dead corpses that are pulled, that hit the beach, or you try to explain them away, and yet they don't fit the facts. They don't fit the actual morphology, the actual design of the animal. Even though we only have the corpse left, in most cases they're severely decayed. It goes to show that the mere fact that they still have flesh on their bone, it tells you right there that they weren't picked apart by scavengers and whatnot. That tells you that they haven't been in the oceans very long, whatever creature it is. Plus, we've had sightings of the Loch Ness, for example, clear back to the 1500s or before. So all that taken into consideration. Now, in terms of extra digits on the Paluxy prints, well, first off, I would stop my video because I gave you actual photos of some of the footprints, and count the toes and tell me if there's 5 or 6 digits. It's just a matter of hitting the pause button when you have the footprints up there. In addition to that, even if you do find some giant human prints that have more than 5 digits, the Bible talks about the giants. They talk about this one offspring from the giant in 2 Samuel 21 verses 20. It talks about how the offspring had 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes. And this was a mark of some of the giants. They were the leftovers. Apparently, they were some of the giant, some giant race of people who did have 6 fingers and 6 toes. That's found in Scripture. 2 Samuel 21:20, for example. However, you don't find those in very large number. Most of them are 5. And not only that, you have these things all over the world. So, you know, you can take it for what it's worth. That's all I got to say about it. But you tell me that, then you mentioned, well, you know, ancient cultures also had artwork and pictures of their gods and goddesses. Well, gods and goddesses, according to the Bible, were demonic beings that could manifest to people. And in fact, we even have cases in the scriptures of a demon manifesting through the indoor witch to Saul, which brought the wrath of God. And it was he was calling, I believe it was the spirit of, the spirit of Solomon, I believe it was. But anyway, whatever the case, he summoned this. He had this witch, the indoor witch, summon a deceased person. And it actually was, the Bible makes it plain, it was a demon that was masquerading as this person. So demons can masquerade and assume any form that they wish, according to Scripture. And that brought the wrath of God on him. So demons can manifest to people. If you don't believe us, just talk to our you don't believe me on that, just go ahead and have a conversation, if they're going to be honest, with some of the politicians we have today, and some of the great men and the mighty men of the earth who worship Moloch, and the secret rituals they do to summon demons, and ask them about Yoda and whatnot. And they'll tell you, yeah, these things can manifest to you, so you can physically see them, whether you believe in them or not. Some of the most highly educated people on our planet, Yale, Stanford, and different other major universities from around the world, are what these political, I guess, what are they, devil worshippers, Babylonian god worshippers, are embracing. I mean, so it's made up by some of the most powerful men and women and most educated men and women on earth. And you call me irrational. And yet they're summoning these ancient gods. In addition to that, you also talked about the Minotaur and the Avatar and the Cyclops. They had the ancient depictions of that too. Yeah. Here's the difference between those things that you like to try to pass off on that basis, and here's the thinking error and the logic error in that argument. Those things are cultural phenomena, but they're not cross-cultural phenomena. However, dinosaurs and legends of dragons, which are basically dinosaur-like creatures that have the ability to blow fire, are seen worldwide. The Aztecs talked about them. The Indians had legends of great beasts. We have it in Europe. We have it in China. We have it in Russia. We have the legends of dinosaurs. They don't call them dinosaurs. They call them great monsters, sea monsters, and sea monsters are universal too. Sea monsters and dragons. I mean, that would be the ancient word for a dinosaur, would be a dragon. Because dinosaur didn't even come out as a word. It wasn't even a word in our vocabulary until the 1800s. So before that time, what did they call them? Well, they called them dragons. They called them sea monsters. They called them great beasts. And the Bible talked about God creating the great beasts, both of the field and of the oceans. And those beasts still, I believe, some of them at least, still exist. I believe there's anecdotal evidence to verify that. But anyway, so the Cyclops and the Avatar and the Minotaur and all those things are only isolated to one culture or cultures that are in contact with each other. However, the dragon phenomena, the dinosaurs, and the great sea monsters are universal. It is cross-cultural, even with cultures that have never been in contact. So there goes your argument on that one. Because you're not going to, all these different cultures are not going to think up the same animals and then have them in the fossil record, and unless they've actually been eyewitnesses to these things, they're not going to think up the same animals and put them in their art and carve them in their stone and whatnot, unless they've seen them firsthand. And it's a universal phenomena, which means it's cross-cultural, which means it's more than just some made-up thing from one culture or cultures that are in contact. So there you go.